Don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell and be the first to know when we drop a new video. Like and share with your fellow American patriots who love this country. And if you haven't even an American patriot, you are someone who believe and love freedom, love democracy, truth, and don't like corruption, hit the subscription button.
Accused of a political assassination, police believe that Vance Bolter is responsible for killing a state lawmaker and her husband inside their home and severely injuring another couple. It is being called the biggest and most intense manhunt in the history of the state. Let's check in with Jay Gray. He is outside the state capitol in St. Paul with more details on this array. Jay, when I saw this story on Saturday morning, I just shook my head in disbelief.
Yeah, unbelievable is exactly right, and that's what a lot of people here, Danita, are saying about this crime. I want to show you behind me here at the Capitol what is a growing memorial to the victims. In fact, we've already seen people visiting this early this morning here. As that grows, we are learning much more about the manhunt and the capture. A massive team of officers and agents stalking the suspect through the woods, then making their move just after nightfall. After more than 40 hours on the run, tactical teams close in, capturing Vance Bolter overnight.
There's no question that this is the largest manhunt in the state's history.
Federal, state, and local agencies searching for the man they say murdered State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and in a separate attack, severely injuring State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Bullet holes from that shooting visible through their front door. The break in the case came Sunday afternoon. Officers locating an abandoned car Bolter is suspected of using after the attacks in a rural area about 50 miles southwest of Minneapolis and just minutes from his home. Then, after a tip from a resident, honing in, tracking, and surrounding Bolter.
The suspect crawled to law enforcement teams and was placed under arrest at that point in time. There was no use of force by any member of law enforcement.
Agents say Bolter was armed when he was taken into custody, but criminal complaint unsealed after his arrest shows police found at least 3 AK-47 rifles, a 9mm pistol, and a kill list in his car, a ballistic vest, mask, and police-style badge on the ground outside the vehicle. Evidence, in what police stress, is still an open and active investigation.
Now begins the hard work of looking at what the motive is, looking at putting this case together.
As the Twin Cities struggle with overwhelming loss. Yeah, investigators say Bolter acted alone in the attacks, and just after his arrest, Governor Tim Walz promised that justice will be served in this case. He went on to say that the shootings were, quote, unthinkable, and that they have, and I'm quoting again here, altered the state of Minnesota. Anita, a lot of people relieved that this suspect has been captured, but also still working through a lot of grief here for what's been lost.
Yeah, so much grief, and that's the right word, unthinkable. Jay, what is next on the legal side of this case? What's the next steps?
Yeah, we've learned early this morning that the suspect will be in court this afternoon here. He is currently charged with 4 counts, 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of second-degree attempted murder. It's thought that those will be moved to first degree now that he has been arrested. There's also been some discussion, and we likely won't know this for a while, but he could face federal charges here as well, including perhaps terrorism charges.
All right, Jay Gray reporting live for us this morning. Tough story, Jay. Thank you.
Those of you who remember back in the days that the only kind of people that used to be scared of in America were, people like Arabs. Arabs. Now America descends into madness. Or white supremacy is turning the U.S. into a third world nation. The United States of America, once considered the shining beacon of democracy, freedom, and law, is now turning the edge of dysfunction, chaos, and decay. And let's be honest, the rat is not coming from the outside. It's not being driven by immigrants, minorities, or foreign adversary. No, the decade is coming from within, specifically from deeply entrenched radical strain of white supremacy. That's belief. If you are not aligned with their twisted philosophies of hatred, violence, and lies, then your life is expendable. The recent assassination of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hartman and her husband, coupled with a violent ambush on State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, is not merely a random act of madness. It is a direct manifestation of homegrown terrorism fueled by extremist ideology. The suspect, 57-year-old Vance Bolter, didn't just wake up one day and decide to go on a killing spree. This was planned, calculated execution, one backed by a target list of prominent Democratic leaders, including Governor Tim Walz. As we see what happened New Year's in a state called Pennsylvania, the governor's mansion was torched. Yeah, man, burned to the ground. Arson by a white supremacist. Yeah, because the governor is a Jew, but yet still this man is a Republican. I know that the Republican leadership love the Jews, but their voters don't. So, but them still vote for the Democrat. Them still vote for the Republican anyway. Although them party leader all they support the Jews, but the voters them don't. This was a planned execution. This is not politics. This is ethnic cleansing in slow motion. Bolter, a former security contractor with military training, wasn't an outcast. He was a family man, a business owner, a man embedded in the same communities that boasted about law and order. But beneath the surface, he was another foot soldier in the growing army of white national extremism that has festered in America's underbelly for generations. I now walk boldly in the daylight, armed, masked, and merciless. Disguised as a police officer, using a fake cruiser with flashing emergency lights, Bolter assassinated Representative Hartman and her husband. He then shot Senator Hoffman and his wife multiple times in their home. What's chilling is how methodical he was, wearing a realistic latex mask, avoiding detection, eluding authority for nearly 2 full days, and most disturbingly, keeping a hit list of political enemies. All of them either black, immigrant, Muslim, or aligned with progressive causes. And this is happening in the United States of America. Let that sink in. Not Colombia, not Sudan. Yes, this is happening. Yeah, it's not in Sudan, not Myanmar. That's what they call Burma, but right in the heart of the Midwest. The FBI call it the largest manhunt in Minnesota history. But the real manhunt we should be conducting is not just for one domestic terrorist. It is for the entire network of white supremacist ideology that radicalized these men, fund their operations, and quietly sits in boardrooms, police departments, and political offices across America. How can we call ourselves a first world nation when political assassinations are becoming normalized? How can we claim to lead the free world when elected officials are being hunted down like animals in their own homes? Them kill even judges. The very people who scream about protecting America's values are the same one destroying them with bullets, bombs, and bigotry. The ideology that fuels these crimes is not about patriotism, it's about domination, and anyone who dares to resist it, be it a progressive lawmaker, an activist, a journalist, or a voter, becomes a target. This is how third world nations fail. First, the truth is replaced by propaganda. And this is how it don't fail, but this is how it falls. First, the truth is replaced by propaganda, lies. That's what Donald Trump is doing right now. Then political opponents are labeled as enemies of the state. Next, the armed extremists become patriots. That's how Michael Mann did back in Jamaica, by sending men to Cuba to train to kill Jamaicans. And then finally, The bloodshed is justified in the name of saving the country. Does that sound familiar? Yes. America is no longer fighting external threats. The greatest threat to democracy in this country is white domestic terrorism, backed by silent enablers and broken institutions. The world is watching, and what they are seeing is terrifying. A nation armed to the teeth, a population increasingly divided by race, truth, and politics, and a system paralyzed by fear, corruption rampant, sea of corruption, you can't even taste it. Yes, and inaction. Vance Bolter is not an anomaly, he's a warning. He is a symptom of a disease that has never been treated, only hidden. Unless America reckon with white supremacist cancer eating its core, the country will continue to slip into lawlessness, extremism, and eventually irreversible collapse. No foreign army is needed to destroy the United States of America. None. White supremacy is doing it from within. One bullet, one lie, and one terror act at a time. If you don't believe, let's watch what's going on right now in America from the White House. The press White House meeting, briefing. It doesn't make sense to watch it because it's all lies. You understand? Unless you're a dummy or you are one of those sheep, you'll tune in. But if you're a smart person, you don't watch. Because all you'll be absorbing are lies. Lies and more lies. Hatred for others who do not look like them. And what they're afraid of races that they call minority excel and more successful than them. So the only way for them to thrive, you have to keep them others. And then you use terrorism as fear to get compliance. I wish you have a beautiful day. And our deepest condolences goes out to the families of these politicians who were killed in Minnesota. Hope this man get the death penalty. And since he's such a bad guy, why did he surrender? Why didn't he shoot it out with the cops? I tell you all the time that cowards, they only can kill people who are unarmed and shoot them from behind. Have yourself a beautiful day.